প্রিয় দর্শক, আসসালামু আলাইকুম। কোর ভিশন ফাউন্ডেশনের আয়োজন ভিশন ফর সাকসেসে স্বাগতম। দর্শক, সফলতা আমাদের সবার কাম্য। প্রতিটি ক্ষেত্রেই আমরা এর জন্য করছি প্রতিযোগিতা, কিন্তু সফলতার সংজ্ঞা কি, এর মাপকাঠি কি আমরা জানি? সম্পদ, নাম, ক্ষমতা পেলেই কি আমি সফল? কোরআন ও সুন্নাহর আলোকে এসব প্রশ্নের উত্তর খুঁজতেই কোর ভিশন ফাউন্ডেশনের উদ্যোক্তা উন্নয়ন কার্যক্রম ভিশন ফর সাকসেস। আমাদের আজকের আলোচনা, দি ডেঞ্জার অফ লিটারাল আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং অফ রিলিজিয়াস টেক্সট। হিয়ার উইথ আস Imam Shamsi Ali, Director, Jamaica Muslim Center. Brother, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you today?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine.
So we are discussing about the literal understanding of religious text. So what is our discussion today?
Yes, so I think this is, as I mentioned earlier in different episode, that one of the most dangerous thing in our world today is understanding religious text literally. And I'm not talking only in the case of Islam, also in the case of any other religion. And many religious Christians people are becoming extremists because of literal understanding. Here in the United States, some Christians refuse or reject to interact or to welcome the immigrants because they are so scared of other religion, because they're understanding that their religion is the only religion. And so the point is that many problems of the world is facing, including extremism, radicalism, and even terrorism. It emanates from the literal understanding of the verse. There are some hatred happens within the religious communities. People hate other people simply because they misunderstand or they understand the religious text literally. And so, for example, in the religion of Islam, in our religion, there are some ayat of the Holy Quran and some hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that tend to mislead some Muslim, even some Muslim scholars, unfortunately, into a misunderstanding of those verses and hadith. For example, the ayah in the Holy Quran that says, "Inna ad-dina 'inda Allahi al-Islam." The only religion which is acceptable to Allah is al-Islam. And then the people then tend to develop that since only Islam is acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we must hate others. We must put others as less than us, as people who are not really desirable. We cannot be friends with them because they are, by the way, people of Jahannam, people of Nar. And that is the wrong way of understanding Inna Dina Inda Allah al-Islam. The meaning of Inna Dina Inda Allah al-Islam, that the religion which is acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, means I have the right to believe that my religion is the only religion to accept. But I don't have the right to hate others on the basis of that understanding that my religion is the only religion acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so this kind of understanding is needed to be corrected, that you can believe in what you believe, but at the same time you have to give room for others to express their freedom to believe in other thing that they wanted to believe. And that is the meaning of lakum dinukum waliyadin. Your religion is yours, mine is mine. You know, I do believe that mine is the best, but I don't have the right to force you to come and believe in what I believe in. Another ayah, for example, in the Holy Quran, when Allah subhanahu...
my one question is, lakum dinukum waliyadin or surah Kafirun.
Yes, yes.
So some of our religious leaders, they are telling that this was the early surahs of the Islam. Later on it was actually stopped. And
No, there is no such any interpretation or any scholar's opinion says that this is being elaborated or changed into other meanings. It remains that Islam is very tolerant to other faith. Islam respects the choices of others to believe in anything that they wanted to believe or not believe at all. And that's why the Holy Quran says, lakum dinukum waliyadin, your religion is yours and my religion is mine. What you believe in, that's your right to believe in, and what I believe is my belief.
It still exists.
It still exists, and it basically guarantees the right for everyone to choose and to believe in any religion that they wanted to believe. Again, the concept of da'wah, for example. We talked this briefly before as well. Some Muslims understand that the concept of da'wah is to make people Muslims. Of course, everyone want to be, as a Muslim, I want to see non-Muslim to be Muslim. I have to be sincere, to be honest about that, because I do believe that Islam is the salvation, Islam that leads us into Jannah, and I want everybody to enter into paradise. But dawah basically is not to make people Muslims, because we cannot do that. No one can do that. Even Prophet Muhammad cannot or could not do that. He cannot even invite his own uncle. And so dawah simply means telling the people what Islam is, showing the people what Islam is, by words or by actions. But in no way to say that we can force anybody to become a Muslim. And that's what some non-Muslim friends misunderstand, that Muslims are forcing non-Muslims to become Muslims. In fact, the Holy Quran guaranteed that la ikraha fi din, there is no compulsion in the religion. And so no matter what Muslims are doing around the world, in some Muslim majority it might be happening somewhere, or we don't know, that Muslims are kind of forcing non-Muslims to follow Islam. Number one, it is wrong. Number two, it is not the right way to do da'wah, because when you're making da'wah, you are basically trying to convince the people to believe. And you cannot, it is simply impossible. I would like to say, it is simply impossible to convince the people to believe in something by force. Because when you force someone to believe, it is not belief anymore. It is hypocrisy, because it doesn't come in, it doesn't enter into their heart. They may follow you, they may say what you want to say, but they don't believe it, because people's heart cannot be controlled by you. It's controlled by himself and by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so, la ikraha fi din is permanently in our religion, that we cannot force, we cannot just enforce our faith to others. And so da'wah, nothing else but showing and telling, and the rest is in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so there are many ayat in the Holy Quran that need to be tackled very wisely. Otherwise, Islam had been viewed by others as the religion of antithesis against modernity, for example, is against development, for example. There are some ayat in the Holy Quran that looks like encouraging the people to be poor. Wasbir nafsaka ma'alladhina. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu is commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be patient with those who are poor. And some scholars say, no, look at Prophet Muhammad sallallahu is commanded to be among the poor people. It means poverty is privilege in Islam. And that is absolutely wrong understanding. Of course, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu was commanded to be among the poor because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to motivate, wanted to give courage to the poor people, so that they don't have to lose the hope. They remain optimistic. They don't have hopeful in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu must give them support. But it doesn't mean that Islam support poverty. In fact, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu says, "Kada al-faqru an yakuna kufran." Poverty can lead into kufr. So it means if you are seeing that poverty is something encouraged in Islam, how you are going to reconcile with the hadith that poverty can lead us into kufr? So this kind of understanding of Islam has made Islam basically so bad in the eyes of people, particularly those who are in the West, because Western people have seen that Islam is the religion that against development. The moment Islam comes to the West, then West will be becoming like third world. It means there is no development, no civilization, no science, no technology. So I think it's the time for the Muslim to come back again and understand that the spirit of Islam is about development. The spirit of Islam is advancement of the economy, political system, advancement of social system, advancement of cultures and religion and civilization. In a nutshell, Islam is about building this world better. And when I say better, it's not only in terms of physical building, as we see in Manhattan, for example, but betterment here means also physical and spiritual, in and out. And that's what Islam is talking about, development. And another hadith I would like to mention in terms of misunderstanding of religious texts, or literal understanding of religious texts. There is a hadith says that this dunya is, if we put it in the scale, the wing of the fly is even more valuable than this dunya. So this is also used by some.
Hereafter is more valuable than this dunya.
Of course, the hadith doesn't say in that way. The hadith simply says that this dunya has no value, because if you put the the wing of the fly in one scale and the dunya on the other scale, wings of the fly is more valuable than the dunya. And that makes some Muslims discouraged to look for dunya. Make them lazy. They feel that this dunya against deen, against the religion. The more you are involved in the dunya, the more you are less in religion. And that's a wrong understanding. Because the meaning behind this hadith is not about that dunya doesn't have any value. The meaning of this hadith is...
We'll take a short break.
Inshallah.
Dear viewers, you are watching Vision for Success. Stay with us. Dear viewers, welcome back. You are watching Vision for Success. Here with us, Imam Shamsi Ali. Yes, brother, we are discussing about the
yes,
hadith.
The hadith that we mentioned earlier, that this dunya it doesn't measure wings of the flies. So it looks like wings of the flies are more valuable than this dunya. And that basically discourages some Muslims from building this dunya. You know, the more we are working for this dunya, looks like the more we are less religious. And that's understanding, of course, is wrong. The literal understanding of that hadith discourage the Muslim for struggling for this dunya, to find this dunya. Where in the same time, the Holy Quran commanded the Muslim to look for this dunya. فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةِ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. If salat is done, then you have to spread out in the land and look for the bounties of Allah, look for the rizq of Allah. And so how to understand this hadith? This hadith is simply to remind the Muslim that when you are looking for dunya, look it for something more valuable. What does it mean, more valuable? Means do not stop just for dunya. Not only accumulating money, collecting this world, and then at the end you don't know what they're going to do. But for Muslims, when you are collecting the world, there is even more valuable behind that. Why? Because you connect your dunya into akhirah. And that's what the meaning of hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that ad-dunya mazra'atul akhirah. This dunya is the place for you to plan for akhirah. It means unless you have dunya, you don't have anything to plan. So you have to have it in order for you to plan, so that you can have the fruit in the day of judgment. You know, and that's what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also once. The story had been mentioned also in some other episodes. A Sahaba was asked by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said to him, "If you know that you're going to die the following day, and you have a seed, plant in your hand, what are you going to do with that plant or that seed?" The Sahaba say, "I will throw it away," because he's going to die, by the way, the following day. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "No, you have still to plant it, because even if you don't, have the fruit, someone else is coming and eat it, and Allah will reward you with that. Allah will bless you with that. If there is no humans eat it, then maybe birds, maybe some animals are coming to eat it." So the point is that when the Muslims are doing for dunya, you have to go just beyond just material purposes, and that is because you want happiness in the hereafter. So in other words, the misunderstanding of this such a hadith have really make some Muslims becoming lazy, discouraged. They don't have any motivation to look for this dunya, and that was the result. You see, the Muslim countries are left behind because they don't have motivation to develop technology, science. They don't have motivation to develop business, for example, to build business, empire as the Western people do or the Chinese people do, to look for opportunities like Chinese people. Even in Makkah, the Chinese people don't believe in any religion, but they found that opportunity in Makkah. They produce anything that Muslims needs, from tasbih, sajada, the Arab dress. Chinese people are doing it. Why? Because they understand the opportunities, that millions of Muslims are coming to Makkah every year, and when they buy these things from Makkah, they feel more value in it. And so Chinese people know that. Why Muslims are not doing it? Why? They are discouraged by some verses of the Holy Quran and some hadith through literal understandings. And this is what we say, that how literal understanding is so dangerous for the Muslims to take a conclusion. Coming back to the ayat of, there is an ayah in the Holy Quran says, وَأَعِدُّ لَهُمْ مَسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ تُرْهِبُونَ بِهِ عَدُوَّ اللَّهِ وَعَدُوَّكُمْ. Now the word turhibun is basically translated literally into irhab. Irhab means terrorism in Arabic. So the ayah in Surah Al-Anfal, it says that prepare from among the power to terrorize the enemy of Allah and your enemy. Now this literal ayah, this verse of the Holy Quran is taken literally by some people that we must terrorize the enemy. We must terrorize those who do not accept Islam, so they will accept Islam. That is absolutely wrong and very dangerous. Because the word turhibuna bihi is not terrorizing. It is about, by empowering yourself, people will respect you. People will pay respect to you. People will honor you. People will dignify you because you are powerful. It's not about terrorizing. It's not about making people fearful. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ embraced everybody. You know, how you can come and take a conclusion that this verse of the Holy Quran means that we must terrorize the people so that they will respect us. It's not terrorizing the people. And so again, you know, there are many in the Holy Quran that need to be tackled very wisely. Wisdom is needed, especially for, you know, in time that many irresponsible people around, irresponsibility in the media, irresponsibility among the politicians, you know, it creates tension and anger among Muslims, particularly among young generation. In that kind of situation, there are some scholars coming and give some fatwa, give some opinions, very literally, very dangerous, because these opinions of Islam, of Quran or interpretation of Quran or Hadith, when these opinions reach the young people will do something wrong. Because they say, no, we have this from Quran.
So you are talking about this economic empowerment is also important for Muslims to concentrate.
Yes, and that's Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he moved to Medina, he did several things in order to prepare the ground, the foundation for the Muslim society, for the Muslim community. Number one, building a mosque. And building a mosque is not only physical body, it's not only physical mosque, but it's about making that mosque as the center for everything. In that mosque, they think about politics, they think about economy, they think about building cultures, they think about building society, they think about science, technology. And that's why the word Jami' back home in Bangladesh, big mosque is called Jami'. It's from Jamia. Jamia means university at this modern time. Because the connection between the mosque and university means mosque must be the center of knowledge. So it's not only where you pray in the mosque. And that is the intention of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So the first one he did, build a mosque. Second one he did, internal reconciliation. In Arabic language it's called Akha bain al-Muhajirin wal-Ansar. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ make the Muhajirin, those who are coming from Makkah, and the Ansar, the Medina people, as brothers and sisters. Because you cannot do anything unless you have unity and brotherhood. And that's what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did, the second one. And the third one, what Prophet Muhammad did, is creating constitution. That's called Medina Charter. You know, and when he created that, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ included Jews, Christians, and everybody in the process of creating civic constitution. Now, some Muslims misunderstand that Medina Charter is an Islamic constitution. We may say Islamic institution, but basically Prophet Muhammad never called it the Islamic institution. It is a civic constitution. It means that constitution is for everybody, for Muslims and non-Muslims alike. And so coming back again, the fourth one, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ built economy. What he did, he bought the market from the Jewish people. He bought a well, water, because water at the time is just like oil sources in the Middle East at the moment. You know, so Prophet Muhammad ﷺ bought that well from the Jewish people, and the Muslims own that well, and the Jewish people are coming buying water from the Muslims. And the market is owned by the Muslim now. So basically Prophet Muhammad ﷺ opened like Wall Street in 7th century. And that is the importance of building economy. One thing that many Muslims understand, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded them to give zakat, their understanding is giving 2.5%. Prophet Muhammad understood differently. The meaning of zakat is not only that you give it, but you have to have. It means because if you don't have anything more than what you need, how are you going to give? Okay, so you have to have more than what you need as a basic need in your life so that you can give to the poor. What does it mean? You have to have economic power. And
So we'll take another break. We'll come back. Dear viewers, you're watching Vision for Success. Stay with us. Dear viewers, welcome back. You are watching Vision for Success. We are discussing with Imam Shamsi Ali. So we have sometimes we in the mosque, if we talk worldly matter, so that is discouraged. That is haram in talking in the mosque. So what is your explanation?
you know, it depends. If the talk of dunya in the masjid distract you from your salat, from your khushu', from your ibadat, and of course this is discouraged. It might be not allowed. And that's why there's a hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that talking about business in the masjid is not allowed. Why? The meaning of that is that you must not be distracted from your salat. Because sometimes when the people are coming and they are so busy talking about business, they forget their khushu', to have humbleness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if you can still balance it, you did your salat, and then you sit down with your brothers and sisters planning about opening market, that is something very much blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you plan your market, you plan your business from the place where there's a lot of blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So we are not talking about like, we don't see any initiative from the mosque, like economic initiative particularly, or job placement, or we don't see anything. What is your opinion?
And that is basically the limits of the mosque. Wrong management or basically limited management, because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam basically, when he built the mosque, as I said, it's not only the place to pray 5 times daily, but it is the place where you think, you plan every single thing in life, including how to build economic things in your life, how to build economy, how to build educational institution. That's from the mosque. And the reason why from the mosque is the center of obedience, the center of ibadah. So when you have that in the mosque, you expand your ibadah is not only by making sujood and ruku', but also building economy, building educational institutions, engage in politics. It all emanated from the mosque. And if that happens, it means the thing that you do outside of the mosque is becoming more blessed, because the barakahs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I think the community, Muslim community, particularly in America and of course in all the world, must begin think about how to empower the community around the mosque. And that's what happened in the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From Masjid Medina, people are building markets around. And it's still happening. If you see Makkah, for example, Masjid Haram, around Masjid Haram is all shopping centers, beginning from gold into a lot of things. And that's okay. It is permissible, not only permissible, but I think it's very desirable, very good thing to do, because in addition to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we want to be closer to Allah through different ways, through economy. And I think it is very important for the Muslim community to think about that when you build a mosque, you don't only build a mosque to pray, but you build a mosque to empower the community around. Alhamdulillah, Jamaica Muslim Center, even though we don't plan it, but Jamaica Muslim Center had become the source of economic growth in Jamaica, for example. You hear the hillside economy, businesses are growing. That is because of the center. And this is what we need to be encouraged further. We need for more masajid to be built, not only to pray, but also to build economic things, to develop economic around.
Some of our imams encourage the people who are the students, particularly Islamic schools and Hafizi Madrasa, and not to get them involved in other economic activities like Hafiz, Qari, or other students, or so they discourage that if
And
you are involved.
Number one, that is wrong. Islamically, that is wrong, because looking for dunya itself is a worship, is ibadah for us. Number two, there is hypocrisy, to be honest, and I'm sorry to mention this in the public, and I hope the audience will listen, that there are some imams who discourage the people to look for this dunya, but they themselves are looking for dunya. They are doing business in Umrah, in Hajj, and because they want money. They need money. And so this is hypocrisy. You are giving speeches in the masjid, you are giving khutbah in the masjid, discourage the people to do business, but you are doing business basically. And so that is hypocrisy that happens in our Muslim community, and we have to be very careful. And I'm just an honest person. I'm mentioning this because it happened in the community that sometimes we see khatibs, we see the imam, we see the mashayikh, talking about discouraging the people to build businesses, but they themselves basically are doing business behind the door. Performing nikah, they have to be paid. Doing this, they have to be paid. Just a few days ago, someone told me, a new Muslim, the imam, I have to complain. So what do you mean? When I wanted to become a Muslim, I went to one of the masjid, and when I wanted to take shahada, the imam basically asked me to pay $300. A non-Muslim wanted to take shahada, wanted to become a Muslim, and the imam who wanted to lead him to take shahada, that imam asked him to pay $300. So I asked him, what happened to you? I didn't take shahada. I went to some other masjid. This is a true story. And this brother is basically close to me. So my point is, sometimes this is hypocrisy happens in our community, where we discourage and sometimes we accuse Muslims who are doing business as materialistic people. But basically we have that tendency in our mind to be materialistic. Even religion, sometimes we use it for material things. And that is something that needs to be corrected.
Thank you very much, Imam Shamsi. We will continue this discussion in near future. Thanks once again for coming. দর্শক, ভুল জ্ঞান, ভুল ব্যাখ্যা, ভুল পদক্ষেপ আমাদের জীবনকে করে তুলতে পারে অসহনীয়। সফলতার জন্য অপরিহার্য হচ্ছে সঠিক জ্ঞান। আসুন ইসলামকে সঠিকভাবে জানি। অপরিহার্য হচ্ছে ভিশনারি হওয়া। ভিশনারি উদ্যোক্তারা বদলে দিতে পারেন সমাজ, অর্থনীতি। ভিশন, আত্মবিশ্বাস, পরিশ্রম এবং ধারাবাহিক চেষ্টা এনে দিতে পারে সাফল্য। আসুন সফলতার জন্য সেভাবেই চেষ্টা করি। নতুন প্রজন্মকে ভিশনারি উদ্যোক্তা হতে ও পরিশ্রমী হতে এবং ইতিবাচক ভাবতে শেখাই। অনুষ্ঠান সম্পর্কে আপনার পরামর্শ মতামত লিখুন visionforsuccessus@gmail.com। অনুষ্ঠানটি প্রচারিত হবে প্রতিদিন রাত ৯টায়, পুনঃপ্রচার সকাল ১১টা এবং দুপুর 2:30। ইনশাআল্লাহ আবার দেখা হবে আগামীকাল এই সময় এখানে টাইম টিভিতে। আসসালামু আলাইকুম।